Hi, my name is Sam Price, Crypto Lifer, and every single Friday I give you a macro analysis of the markets. Today we're going to break down Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance, US Tether dominance, total 3, which is the market cap of all the altcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're also going to be looking at Sol BTC and Ethereum BTC to take a look at what's happening and the DXY to break it down. We'll also throw a chart in there for the S&P futures to get you ready for what's happening to the stock market as well. Let's break it down. Let's talk about it. The first thing we're going to talk about is Bitcoin. Bitty Bitcoin. So the first thing I want to talk about is the weekly for Bitcoin. And these are basically macro analysis. I don't want to go too deep into the 1 hour, the 4 hour. We're just going to be looking at the bigger time frames. So right off the bat, we had a beautiful week. Things were going well. It looked like this week was going to close absolutely strong. Things were looking amazing. But no, everything was taken away yesterday and into Friday as Bitcoin just got sold off after the ETF was approved, and it was a sad day. You know, one thing I did talk about, if you watched my macro analysis, was this is a bearish divergence on the daily. If you looked at the RSI and the price action on the daily, they were not agreeing. Price action was moving up while the RSI was moving down, and the stochastics were spent. It told you we were likely getting a move to the downside. Looks like Bitcoin may come down to test 37,008. If it loses that level, it could even come down and test 31,005. Whether it loses 31,005 or not, or even 38,000, we'll see. But right now, definitely a chance Bitcoin does at least come down to test 41,000, and we'll go from there. You can see there's a gap in the VRVP here on the daily. Once you enter it, you're likely to be able to fall to the high volume node at about 37,500. So it's not, it's not guaranteed to happen. The 4 hour would have to lose the 200 SMA. See, the 4 hour would have to lose this 200 SMA, but it's likely like it may. This is a giant M, which we could almost say could start here and then continue to the downside as well. Once this 4 hour closes a candle below the 200, we're going to expect more downside to the 8 hour 200 SMA, and that's going to take us to 41,000. At that point, I will be live streaming, and I'll be able to show you guys what's likely going to happen, and we're going to go over that idea. So, yeah, have no fear. We're going to be able to give you that information when you need it as it happens. But right now, Bitcoin not looking great on the bigger time frames, right? Breaking down. The daily suggesting more downside. I'm a stochastics RSI guy, and they suggest more downside for Bitcoin. We'll be looking for bear flags and a fallback and a bearish retest of this trend line for continuation to the downside. It could actually even take us all the way down to where the 200 SMA meets this $34,500 level. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities to believe that Bitcoin could go back to $38,000, $35,000 level. We will have to lose moving averages first. Certain things will have to happen. But this is definitely a topping look. This definitely bearish div. And we even have bearish div all the way up into the 5-day chart. So even into significant time frames. Look for price action to come back and hang out with the 21-day moving average. One of these two levels, 41,000 or possibly 37.8. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It'd actually be a pretty healthy pullback. If Bitcoin just continues to go up straight, you're looking for a nastier dump. If Bitcoin comes up, retest, comes up, retest, it's just slowly building a nice wall to the upside. What's interesting, though, is when we look at the total market cap for Bitcoin and all the altcoins, everything really, all the cryptos, this actually, could sustain a move above 1.48. However, it does look like it may make a falling wedge and come down and test this level, and that would be Bitcoin testing about 38,000, right? I got both of these up because it could go sideways or either way. It is a little overbought on the weekly. When we look at the 3-day, however, the 3-day suggests that we could continue to the upside. Remember, Bitcoin could go sideways and some of the altcoins could kind of take over. So we're going to watch this closely to see how tight this channel gets, to see how much more action we can get. If this stays tight and the 3-day channel, closes above this level, then the altcoins could really be the ones that are pushing the market because this, and how we're going to figure that out is look at total 3. But right now, this doesn't look horrible for the total market cap. The weekly is a little overbought. We'll give it that. We are away for the 21, but we could just go sideways into the halving. We may just see some sideways price action until we get to February and March. So it's not all horrible. And we have some, resistance. We have some nice support at 1.48. If we lose that, that would be a key level. We close a candle below that on the weekly. That would be something I would be like, we probably are going to go lower. But until then, I could see some sideways price action on the total market cap. Total 3 is the market cap of all of the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. See, it says up here, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is, to me, looks like it's either going sideways or pulling back too as well. But if you look at the weekly, It looks way better than, Bitcoin's candle. Bitcoin had a huge green candle and came back. This one is sustaining its green candle. Like, it's holding its gains. So people piled into altcoins and they didn't just sell off. They were DCAing. A lot of people DCA too. So there's a DCA, and that adds more price action. Then you have some people swing trading, and the DCA people aren't just going to sell off out of nowhere. So you can see this stochastics RSI reset as price action goes sideways, and it could take 5 to 6 weeks. So we could see some sideways price action for Bitcoin and the altcoins here, but the altcoins don't look too bad. They look a little better than Bitcoin comparatively. Bitcoin dominance took a massive dump. When we look at it on the 4-hour, you can see it just absolutely collapsed. And where did that money go? It didn't go into tether dominance, because when we look at tether dominance, we should have seen a huge spike to the upside on the 4-hour. We didn't get that. A little bit of a spike, fine, but it wasn't the big pump that we were looking for. And let me readjust this because I just drew it on a bigger time frame and they don't match perfectly. But I still see this in a bit of a bear flag. There's some bullish div that could bounce it back to the upside, but for the most part, tether dominance didn't get that huge pump. So if Bitcoin gave that much away, where did the money go? And that's the question. Where did the money go? Well, the money went into the altcoins. That's what happened, right? So Bitcoin let go, and the money went into the altcoins, specifically into Ethereum. And we're going to show you that today and how the charts actually conveyed where the money was flowing. And we even did have some good altcoin pumps in the last week. So it's been pretty nice. We've had some run-ups, but Bitcoin dominance continuing to fall. And if it loses this level, the next level I see it dropping to is about 50.33. We've been watching this closely. If we get a bounce back up, Bitcoin could really start to recover and we could get a big move up. There is a big chance that Bitcoin does recover. There's some mixed signals here. We do have a halving coming, but the tentacles tell me sideways or some type of pullback has to occur at least before our next big run up for the market. So Bitcoin dominance, we want to make sure that it, either way, I wouldn't mind if it drops or pumps, but it would be better if it does bring it back up to stabilize the entire market. Bitcoin dominance continues to drop down, and eventually the whole market will drop even more. You're going to watch tether dominance closely. You don't want to see tether dominance get back above that circled area here, 9%, 6%. We want to see it continue to the downside. When we look at it on the weekly, however, it does say, hey, it's been beaten down for a while. People have been selling out of tether for a while. However, the 3-day chart, which is my go-to chart, did just get a death cross, which tells me that more downside is coming, and it says we're about to dump. So tether dominance looking like more downside is coming. So this Ethereum ETF is spreading, and rumors are spreading the second. And so people are selling off Bitcoin, but there's whales piling into Ethereum. So that's changing the scenario, and that could also bury tether dominance. So we're looking for 3-day to continue to the downside. Let's look at the 3-day for Bitcoin dominance. And that actually isn't as bad, but could slump a little more. Look, that's a shoulder ahead and a right shoulder. So it looks like it's ETH's turn. Looks like you're going to get a move for Bitcoin dominance to the downside and ETH dominance to the downside. That brings me to ETH BTC, all right? Or DXY, really. The DXY on the 4-hour is in a flag, right? We don't want to see this pump up. If Bitcoin struggles and we do get that pullback, it's likely the DXY also gets a bit of a move to the upside, right? Sorry. Just want to grab this measured move. So if the DXY does get the move, you're looking somewhere at 104 up into 104.95. I'd like to see this get rejected and fall to the downside. When we look at the bigger time frames like the daily, it is pretty overbought and it's suggesting that it can. However, it does have kind of a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder vibe. We'll be looking for basically the DXY not to get back above this 200 SMA. If it flips the 200 SMA on the 4-hour time frame, that's also going to spell the idea that Bitcoin's probably slumping, and that's when Bitcoin's going to go below its 200 SMA on its 4-hour and jump to the downside. So this is setting up for a possible move. We need to see, the next 2-3 days are going to tell us a lot. If we get a rejection and start to fall this way, it means we have avoided it. But if this gets back above it, it means we're likely going to get some more upside. So when it happens, fine. We don't have to make a move exactly, but if we get above this level, it's going to tell us the market's probably going to trend further up, the dollar index market, and that the crypto market will slump or go sideways a little bit. And that's something we definitely have to heed. ETH Bitcoin finally got a huge pump today, even though Bitcoin slumped. And even on the week, you can see Bitcoin down on the weekly, Bitcoin pumping up, ETH Bitcoin pumping up nicely. Getting above the 200 SMA, that's a huge sign. The last time we did that, a huge move ensued for Ethereum, right? It got above the 200 SMA on the weekly, and it was absolutely gone. You can see it right there, and it shot out. So this is a big deal. It's likely going to continue to trend upwards. So we're looking for Ethereum to hold its gains. And, if it does pull back, not as bad as Bitcoin. And then whenever Bitcoin gets a run up, we're looking for Ethereum to beat up on Bitcoin. So ETH BTC finally getting a bit of a bottom here, getting a weekly bullish div. And we know weekly bullish divergence are very, very strong. That's how I called the bottom for Bitcoin. So that's likely going to be your bottom for ETH BTC. Only a matter of time we could see something like this before ETH Bitcoin really starts to skyrocket and take market share away from Bitcoin. ETH's going to beat Bitcoin in the long run in this bull run. It's going to have a bigger multiple. It's just only a matter of time. I like to look at Sol BTC too, which looks like it's getting ready on the daily. Sol is actually up against Bitcoin on the 2-day chart and on the daily chart today. You can see it's green, right? Even though Bitcoin's been red. I would watch Solana. It looks pretty interesting, like it may continue to move up. So even though we did get a pullback for Bitcoin, we did get some, craziness when it came to all the market, up and downs and the ETF and then the fake tweet and the manipulation. It was insane. Even the SEC manipulated us. It's crazy. Like the one organization that's supposed to protect us was doing the same thing that they say they don't want people doing. So whether it was an accident or not, it happened. It was just an insane week. A lot went on. Bitcoin sitting at 43,619. And remember, the key levels to pay attention to on the weekly, right? Just looking back at Bitcoin at 43,594, and we're seeing this resistance here. It would have been nice if the weekly had closed back above this. That's weekly resistance now. And if we stay below that, it's likely we do get some type of pullback. So I have to be honest with everybody. Bitcoin looks likely like it's going. So I have to be honest. Even the bigger time frames do tell us that it's likely we get a pullback unless the weekly can get a candle close above this resistance. We're in for definitely some type of sideways action or a pullback, maybe even to the 21-day moving average. You don't like to get too far away from it, right? And that could reset us too as well. So in the macro, I'm still bullish for Bitcoin, but I do see in the next 1 to 2 months some type of pullback as we head in to the halving. And that's your macro analysis on the week for Bitcoin. Total 3, Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, DXY, Sol, Bitcoin, and Ethereum BTC. I hope you had a blast. I'll be here every single week doing this. I go live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. I can't wait to see you there. And I also do awesome updates and video, crypto on the go, and other stuff too. Look out for the content that we're putting out every single day. Thank you so much. Crypto Lifer, over and out.